Welcome back to C-Ball. We have a very good guest here, longtime friend and teammate, excellent pool player. This is Bob Keller. Bob, how you doing?
Good.
Are you doing good?
Great to be here.
He is now the author, or co-author, I guess I should say, of an amazing book called A Shortstop on Straight Pool. And this is very professional looking. Look how small the print is. And it comes with a little key.
USB key with a bunch of video clips on it.
It's a key to my heart. Yeah. How many of them? 200?
Over 200 clips, and then I have a 124 ball straight pool run by me, with my commentary over it, explaining the shots.
Back in the old days, for those from Colorado, Shakespeare's, they used to have a straight pool league, and they still have one at Felt. But I used to play in it at Shakespeare's, and that's how I met Bob back in the day. You, me, I'm trying to think of the top.
Is that the
players
first
who played
time we
in
met?
it.
Was straight pool league?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, or maybe the 9-ball tournament on Tuesdays, or.
Yeah, okay.
But it was definitely at Shakespeare's. And then, let's see, you, me, Tom Ross, Rick Field, Jim Blakeman.
Yep.
I think those were the major heavy hitters.
Yeah.
To play.
I remember that.
That's one of my favorite trophies up there was, where was it? Summer 2005 A fight. I won the fight. I beat all you fuckers.
You beat all the suckers? No, you did.
Yeah,
Oh.
I had a strategy. I would make like 7 balls and then duck and play safe instead of trying to go for a high run.
I remember my very first night at that league.
Yeah.
I came in the mid session somewhere, and my very first match I ran a 72.
Jesus.
And I was so happy that I might have the high run for the night. And at the very same time, on the very table next to me, Jim Blakeman ran like 92. I was like, are you kidding me? It was awesome.
This is clearly off topic, but speaking of Jim Blakeman, great guy and great player.
Yeah.
They used to live. He was in Vegas now, and he always had an eye that, like, when he got to another shot, like one of his eyes would kind of float up. And I thought it was just a lazy eye, but I don't know if you knew that. He was blind.
One-eyed,
Yeah. He was something like 8 years old, and he was playing Cowboys and Indians with his brothers with belts, and the little prong hit him in the eye.
Ouch.
Yeah. But he says it helps the pool game because it's actually a 2-dimensional game because you're not going up and down for the most part. And so when you're lining the shot up, you're not, if you're looking at one ball, like looking at the cue ball and then looking at the object ball, whichever one you're looking at, the other one doesn't turn into 2 balls.
Well, you don't get that parallax.
Yeah, it's always, everything's just.
That's an unfair advantage.
Yeah. Or, well, see, I was going to market, like gloves. We get an
eye patch
with an 8-ball on it. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Patent pending.
Good idea.
I'm going to steal this question from Joey Ryan and his excellent Pool Player podcast. But how'd you get in the pool?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, how'd you
Wow,
first
that was a
start
long time ago. What happened was I turned 18, and like a month after I turned 18, I moved away from home. And so now I was being my own person for the very first time. And I didn't know who that was, but they had 4 Brunswick pool tables at the bowling alley across the street from my apartment. And I was like, oh. So I started playing pool there, and then got hooked up with a couple of friends, and this was back in 1980. And so the drinking age in Wisconsin was 18, so I could go to the bars and drink at 18 years old. And of course, they had 2 Valley bar tables at the bar.
Yeah.
And so I was too shy to talk to girls, so I played pool all night long. And my friends talked to girls for me.
And you hear a lot about really good players that when they first started, they just had a knack for it and stuff. From what I hear, that was not necessarily your case. You had to work hard to get where you are, right?
Oh, I was horrible for the first 15 years.
Yeah.
Terrible. I wasn't horrible. I was like everyone else. I was an average player. I could make 2-3 balls in a row.
Well,
Just had fun playing bar table 8-ball in the bars.
Peter McCaldy said that in the little weekly tournaments, race to 2 around Denver, he was like, Bob would show up and he goes, and it was an instant buy. Like, he was never going to win. And he goes, and then he just a year later, he couldn't miss.
It's really interesting because I remember that time, and I would go to tournaments, and I remember in my car driving to the tournament going, this week I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win. I tried to be real positive, and I had no chance of winning a match, let alone the tournament. But that's, as a beginner, you don't know what you don't know. And I think
True.
that's the hardest lesson to learn.
That is a really
if you're trying to
good
improve
point.
as a pool player.
You know, that brings me to a thought about playing on APA teams, and like, for example, I was on a team that went to Vegas, and when we were qualifying to go to Vegas, like I don't remember, she was either a 2 or a 3, and had a tough shot on the 8. It was like, if this whole book is the table, like, here's the cue ball, and here's the 8, and she had to back cut it in this corner. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna make, I'm not an overwhelming favorite to make that. She gets down 2 strokes it and just hit it right in, and we all went crazy. She was just like, what? I just made the shot. But she
didn't
was
know
such a
how hard it
beginner.
was.
Exactly. She didn't realize how difficult it was, so there was no, she was like, well, I can see the ball, and it's supposed to go over there. I'll just try to make it.
Just try to make it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, there's another one of Joey's questions. When did you know, like, was there a certain moment, like either a tournament or someone that you beat where you went, ooh, I've really taken that next level now?
I wonder when that would be. Yeah, probably, there's a player in, a Denver player that some people might know, Chuck Nielsen. And he was a very good player, and a real tough competitor, but he actually helped me. He pushed me to play in tournaments. Because he recognized that I might be able. He tried to give me confidence to say, get in the tournament and play. You have a chance.
Yeah.
And where I never believed in myself.
Yeah.
And then I think the first tournament that I ever won, I beat Chuck in the finals.
Yeah.
And then, so that was probably the first time I was like, geez.
Is that a Paradise?
Really? Maybe I can. Yeah, that was Paradise Billiards at 30th Sheridan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to keep a list of Colorado players that I hadn't beaten at least once in a tournament, and some of those players took a long time to get the first notch, but a lot of them I haven't.
Man.
Like actually one person I've never beaten is Tony Piazza. However, as fate would have it, in any tournament that we've played in, I believe I've only drawn him twice. If you're not including team tournaments where you just play one game, but an actual thing. So I don't have a lot of sample size,
Tony was a tough one. I probably beat him less than 10% of the time that we played. He was always the favorite there. Some other players would consistently beat me, and then after I got experience and got better, I started to beat them more often, and then I started to beat them regularly.
Oh yeah.
So
once you get
really
once you get the monkey off. your back.
Once you get it off your back and you start to realize, this is just, it's the same game for me as it is for them. It's balls on the table. It's difficult to make the ball for me as it is for them.
And it changes their psyche. At least it does for me. If there's someone who I've never lost to, and they've improved, and all of a sudden they beat me the first time, then the next time I play, I'm a little bit tenser because I'm like, well, I know this person's capable of beating me, so I have to play perfect. Where before I was like, I'll get another shot, and I was so loose that I just ran out anyway.
Yeah.
But that added pressure of, this guy's gunning for me and has a real chance. Yeah.
Yep.
So what brought you to think about making a straight pool book?
Well, basically I got tricked into it. That's the short story. The long story, you want to hear the long story?
Yes, yeah.
So I took time off from pool almost 10 years.
All right, are you done with your story? Because
Nope.
it's already too long.
It's already too long.
Go ahead.
It's 10 years long.
10 years, that was after 2006.
2008.
2006, we were on the team that won BCA Nationals.
Yeah. So 2008, well, it was 2009 that the economy crashed, and all the jobs dried up and blah, blah, blah. And so I didn't play any pool for a long time, 9 years about. And then when I came back to pool, I'm older now and I haven't played for a while, and I don't care as much about competing, because back then, straight pool has always been my favorite game, but back then, if you wanted to play, you had to play 9-ball or 10-ball. That was it. Or bar table 8-ball. Those were the games that you had to play. But now, after the big layoff and coming back, now I'm playing for me. I don't care about competing. I don't care about tournaments. I'm playing for my enjoyment as I get older and see how good I can play. And so I'm playing straight pool. So the first thing I did was join the straight pool league. And the co-author of my book, David Cheesley, is the guy who runs the straight pool league in Denver. So he was very happy to have me play in the league. Yeah. He was very happy to have me join the league, and I played one session, and then the next session, he said, "Hey, Bob, I think some of the other players in the league would be interested in having a group lesson. Do you think you could put together a group lesson? Maybe have 4 or 5 sessions, and I'll get players to show up, and they can each pitch in a few dollars." And I was like, all right, sounds like fun. Yeah, that'd be cool. And I know it's fun to teach because you always learn something when you teach.
Yeah.
So I put together, on a single sheet of paper, I put together a five lessons for a group. And so we started doing the lessons, and the students showed up, and they all had a good time and learned stuff. And then after a couple of them, David said, "Hey, this is really good stuff that you're telling these people. We should be videotaping it, or you should write it down." And I was like, "I don't know." "Yeah, you should write it down." He said, "Just write it out on a couple of pages, and then we can print it out and give it to the students who attended the clinic, and then they'll have something to reinforce what they learned."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, okay, I can do
Cliff
that."
notes of
Yeah, little
today's
cliff
lesson.
notes
Yeah.
thing. So I did that, and I thought it would be 2 or 3 pages, and it ended up being 12 pages long, because I guess I'm compulsive that way. But I finished it, 12 pages, and David was like, "Man, this is really good. This could be a book." "Oh, yeah, well, I suppose it could."
12-page book.
It's a 12-page book. Well, we could, and I think David envisioned something just a little bit bigger than 12 pages.
Not
But when
this.
I heard book, I was like, yeah, I've always thought about writing. I really have thought about writing a book, but it never.
On pool?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. I had started writing a book over a dozen years ago, just like a glossary of pool shots, which of course, like most people who think they want to be an author,
Yeah.
it never goes anywhere.
Yeah.
But I had this pamphlet, and then we started growing it, and it started getting bigger, and it started becoming a real book. And then he created a website, and then I created a YouTube channel. Now the thing has momentum, and it keeps going, and there's like 3 chapters that are completely done, and Dave was like, "Well, let's finish the other chapters." And it just kept going.
Yeah.
So it took from January of this year, 2020, till 2 days ago to finally finish the whole thing.
Now, you said he's co-author. What was his role?
A lot. He did a lot. So David lives in Evergreen, and he's got a pool table in his house. So I went up there I don't know how many times, 30, 40 times. We started out just wanting to record straight pool break shots on his pool table. So we set up an overhead camera. We experimented with camera angles and different cameras, and started making a collection of break shots. And at first we only had like 20 of them, and then I was like, well, okay, but we have that shot, but we don't have this variation where the cue ball does this. And we just kept going and going, and I started going up there 3 times a week for several weeks, and we ended up with this huge glossary. And he was like, well, we got to do safeties too. Oh yeah, okay. Well, I'll come up Saturday and we'll do safeties. So we'd spend 6 hours setting up these different safety shots in straight pool, and then we got a catalog of safeties, and then we did the same thing for a bunch of other shots. It just kept growing. So David tricked me into writing. So I used David's pool table. He's been a computer programmer for years, and he's programmed some other websites. So he set up the website. He did all the business stuff, set up a bank account, PayPal account, made the payment system,
Got an
and
LLC
all that
or
stuff.
something. You got to actually have a business.
Yeah,
license.
exactly. He created the LLC, set up the checking account. He figured out how to print the book, where to get the bindings and the quality of the paper and the ink and all that stuff. So I've had to do nothing but write it and shoot the shots, and he's done everything else. The only other thing I did was create the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And that's been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how did you come up with the name Shortstop on Pool? Because you are anything but a shortstop.
Well, it depends on your definition. We had a different title for the book.
Okay, before that, I
Yeah.
consider a shortstop as someone who can't win.
Someone who can't win.
Yeah.
This is very interesting because it wasn't until afterwards, after we decided on this name, that I looked it up. And there's a thread on Easy Billiards where people are talking about what does this word mean to you. And a lot of people have a lot of different opinions.
Yeah.
And a lot of them share that opinion. A shortstop is a guy who, if you draw him in a tournament, you're going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so on the website, the very first line on our website below the title is our definition of shortstop. And shortstop is actually used in some other sports as well, aside from pool.
Baseball.
But I think it's most
Thank you,
common.
folks.
But I think it's most commonly used in pool. But the definition that I've always been familiar with is a shortstop is one of the best players in town, in your town. But if a road player or a pro comes into town, they're not good enough to beat the road player or the pro. But it's like the best around who's not quite good enough to go pro.
Yeah.
That's a shortstop.
And then the road player comes in, doesn't play that guy because it would kill all the action.
Kill all the action,
Yeah.
that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
Okay.
think there's a formal definition. A lot of people have different definitions.
And so in
that's
that
what it is here.
definition, that's sort of a compliment to the shortstop because he's the best in his little pond.
Right.
But it's sort of a put down because you're like, but you're not nearly as good as you think you are.
And so I'm trying to remember what the first title of the book was. I don't remember what it was. It was something not interesting, and I decided to change it to this because I think this isn't Earl Strickland on how to play straight pool or whatever pro you want to name.
I want to read that.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a good book. I wanted it to be relatable. I wanted it to say, look, I'm a 100-ball runner, but I'm not a pro. I can show you how to do what I do. I wanted it to be relatable. You can do this too. That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point of having that in the title.
Yeah.
To make it relatable. I'm not going to be talking down to you from a high pedestal.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm saying, look, I'm a little better than you. I put in the work and the knowledge. I know how to get there, and I can show you to do it too.
Speaking of being on a higher level, Denver was fortunate enough to have John Schmidt come through, and he went to his clinic. I was busy. I was out of town or some reason I couldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
But and for those that don't know, John Schmidt is now the world record holder in the straight pool with 626 balls.
Correct.
And for those that don't play straight pool,
That's a lot.
It's
It's mind-boggling.
unfathomable. It's how many racks?
That's over 44 racks, I believe.
44 racks of not missing. And breaking the balls apart by leaving a ball on the table, not just smash. It'd be hard enough to do just by breaking like an 8-ball rack and trying to run 44 racks without missing.
When you play straight pool, anytime that you set up a break shot and start to shoot, you know that it's going to end with a failure. That's how straight pool works. You scratch on the break shot or you miss. There's something that happens that ends the run. And that happens to every single person in the world who has ever tried to run a lot of balls in straight pool. And the random occurrences that aren't your fault that can end a run are just crazy. They can happen at any time. And to avoid those for 44 racks is to just avoid the random things for 44 racks, let alone not miss a ball for 44 racks. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he wrote a foreword in it.
John Schmidt wrote the foreword. I showed him the draft of the book 2 months ago when he came to Denver, and he took one look at it and he was like, "Holy crap!
Who are you, dude?
You spent a lot of time writing this, didn't you?" He said, "Sure, I'll write it." Yeah, so that was awesome of him. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Did he anything that you learned from his clinic? Did you put in here, or was this already finished?
It was 85% done at that point, and I was nervous about that because I didn't want to learn something new from John Schmidt and then put it in the book as my idea, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So it was very interesting because the clinic, one of the clinics he gave was specifically about straight pool.
Was it
And
about plagiarism?
And I was about plagiarism. So I was very happy that a lot of the things that he said were things that I already had said as well.
Did you make that
but could
point
be
though?
from
Did you
different
go,
points of view.
I think that, John?
No. So no, I didn't steal anything from him. I did make a video that's up on my YouTube channel called What I Learned from John Schmidt. And so, definitely giving him credit.
What is your
for
YouTube
motivating
channel?
me. It's called Shortstop on Pool. So the book is a Shortstop on Straight Pool, but my channel is just a Shortstop on Pool, and the website is Shortstop on
So
Pool.
now, this is very clever because now it leads the possibility of a shortstop on 8-ball.
Shortstop on 9-ball.
Yeah.
Shortstop on snooker.
3-ball.
3-cushion billiards. No.
How to win a 3-ball
Who knows?
match
Who knows?
every time.
A shortstop on 8-ball, bar table 8-ball at the BCA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, a little off topic. I know this is kind of putting you on the spot here, but what's like one of the either funniest or craziest things, or just something in pool that sticks in your mind of like, oh, listen to this one thing that happened, whether it happened to you or you
Oh my God.
watched it. I mean, I've got lists and lists.
Who knows? Two things are popping to my mind.
All right,
and I
let's
don't
hear
know
it.
if they're interesting or not.
Yeah.
One was the craziest night at the pool hall. It was at Paradise at 38th and Sheridan. And I've never seen this before. A guy just lost his mind. And I started it. I didn't mean to start it. I didn't mean to start it.
The story is going way further than I
So
thought.
I was just sitting there eating dinner, and there's the pool tables are below the dining area, and one guy had put money into the bar table and racked the balls, and then he went to the restroom, and another guy walked up from somewhere else and started playing pool with those balls, and the guy came back from the restroom and he said, "Oh, excuse me, that's mine," and the first guy said, "No, it's not," and I piped up. I was like, "Yeah, that's his. He just went to the restroom." And so the guy lost his mind. Everybody in the pool hall started coming over, having arguments. That guy started picking up balls off the table and chucking them across the room,
God.
right over people's heads at the walls. The police got called. The owner of the pool room finally got the guy wrestled to the ground, put him in arm lock, shoved him out the door. Everybody in the pool hall grabbed cue sticks and chased him down the block. And so now we have pool sticks and we're in the backyard of somebody's house. The guy's behind a bush, and then the cops come in from both sides with guns drawn and go, "Freeze!"
Oh my
We're like,
God.
"Whoa." So it took like hours.
He was there by himself?
Yeah, apparently. Well, no, he was there with a friend. And his friends were like, "We don't know him." But that was the craziest night ever at the pool hall, the good old pool hall. Oh my God.
And what's the
Unbelievable.
second story?
The second story is just pool related. I don't know why I remember this, but it's very cool. One of the lessons for playing good pool is to forget about the situation you're in and just play the shot in front of you. So there's a lot that can be said about that, and a lot of instructors talk about that. But this happened during probably in the 1990s, early 2000s, the weekly 9-ball tournament. And I was playing, should I name the player? Why not?
Yeah.
Bill Skinner is a really good 9-ball player. He played great 9-ball. We were like very close back then. And so in one week in the tournament, I won the winner's bracket and he won the loser's bracket. So we're in the finals and he has to beat me twice. And I'm playing really good. And it's a race to 5 9-ball, and I get ahead of him 4-0, right? And I lose 5-4. So now we've got to play a second set. And he gets ahead of me 4-0 in the second set. And I won the tournament.
Nice.
Came back and went 5-4. So that's, yeah. But how strange is that? I win 4 games in a row, and then he won 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
And then I won 5 games in a row.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And so you just shoot the shot that's in front of you.
Yeah.
And sometimes things happen.
When you told the story of that fight, that reminds me of one of the craziest things I've seen, and it was in Vegas for the BCA, and it was when they would have the suds and chip mixer with the free kegs of beer, but there were still matches going on, like with the singles were winding down. This is back when it was just Open and Masters, so the Open had 1,200 people in it or something. And so now they're down to like the final 20 and they're playing and people are hanging out and da-da-da. And then like all of a sudden I heard this like a little bit of commotion and then it's and I look over and it's like I'm standing here and then there's like the little row of seats and there's tables and then these tables, so it was happening right there and I was here and I saw this guy, he had missed it.
I know this story.
He went to hear a jump shot and he didn't make it or he fouled or something. And he was just short, real muscular guy. He looked like he was kind of roided out. And he took his jump cue and smashed it at the table and it shattered into pieces. And the guy who was playing was this really nice dude. But he was like didn't know what to do. Like, is this guy gonna freak out? So he goes to call a ref, and then that guy's like, "What are you calling a ref for? It's your shot." And he was like, "Dude, you're smashing. There's your cue just splintered all over the place. There's pieces of it on the table." So the ref comes up, and he's an older guy, and then the stocky guy starts getting in his face. And then the ref's like, blah, 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 and I think he's trying to disqualify him or take a game away from him or something. And all of a sudden, that little guy he pushes the ref, and then he starts going, just throwing haymakers and uppercuts. And the old ref, like, he looked like Keanu in the Matrix, he was like, and then about the 8th punch, caught the ref, and then they ended up on top of the table and balls were flying around, and then the ref squirmed away and started running away, and that guy went and tackled him, and I'm just sitting there like, whoa, what is happening? And then some guy just came flying next to me and like Dukes of Hazzard style leaped over the little chairs and went sprinting and just like Superman through the air and tackled this guy, and so did about 20 other people, and there was just, and you could see all these fists and feet kicking this guy, and then the security came and they got him up and put him in handcuffs and walked him out, and the whole room was applauding.
Wow.
But like during this whole thing, before they got him out of the room, the guy on the mic was like, "Everyone, please return to your tables and continue your matches." Like, really?
Yeah, right,
yeah,
sure.
Like, the whole room had like congregated. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, "What's going on?"
Right.
But yeah, that was the most interesting fight I have seen, that's for sure. Especially to happen in nationals, and of course that guy got like banned for life from BCA, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But okay, so this is all sectioned off, I'm assuming. I haven't looked through it yet, but
I'll tell you what.
yeah.
So my criticism of a lot of pool books, instructional pool books, is they tend to be very dry, and they tend to be an accumulation of just a list of shots. Here's a shot you can do. Oh yeah, and remember to do this. Oh yeah, and remember to do this. And it's just a list of things. And I wanted to create something that was a little more approachable, a little more relatable. So I think this is more like a conversation with me or with an instructor.
That is a fantastic way to approach it.
Lead you through the process.
Yeah.
Kind of more step by step.
Almost like they can picture they're having that conversation
Right.
with you, like you're standing in front of them.
Right. So I'm not trying to say, hey, here's how a pro shoots this shot and you should do it the same way. I'm saying, look, here's how you can start to teach yourself to play better straight pool and to play better pool in general.
Yeah.
But the book is organized how you would approach running straight pool rack. So it starts at the break shot and then goes to how to look at the rack, what the types of balls are, how to run balls, what things to look for, how to open clusters, and then to the end pattern. So it just goes in order of running a rack. Then there's a lot of motivational stuff. There's stuff about attitude. There's a little bit about fundamentals. So I wanted it to be real relatable.
Did you, would you just be practicing and then a situation would come up and go, oh, I gotta remember that one?
Absolutely. Yep. I had a file for each chapter, And I have these notepads with a pool table on it. So if I was playing or watching someone else play and a thought came to my mind, I would write it down on the pad, and then when I get home, it would go into the appropriate file for that chapter. Yep. And then over time, it would coalesce and become an actual chapter of the book.
Do you have a favorite part of the book?
Wow. Do I have a favorite part of the book?
It's
Not
okay
really.
If you say no.
I don't never thought about it in that session.
Because it all flows.
I have, you know what's interesting is over this last 10 months of writing this book, I've played straight pool more often than I ever have, which is incredible because I love straight pool and I've always played it a lot. But I know that I'm playing better straight pool today than I did in January when we started this project.
Yeah.
And so,
what's your high run?
my high run lifetime now is still 135. But I've run over 100 balls in the last 2 months. 3 times.
3 times?
In the process of doing this. And one of those I ran 124, and that's on the USB drive here. And I went through the whole thing and did commentary on that. And so I feel like I'm seeing the balls better. And one of the things David helped me do is to finish the book. Because I always wanted to go back and, Dave, I figured something else. Let me ask this. And he said, no, there have to come a point where you draw a line and say, this chapter's done.
Yeah.
And let's go on to the
That'll
next
be
thing.
the abridged version 5 years
Yeah,
from now.
exactly. Yeah, I'll do volume 2 and volume 3. No, I don't think I'll do that.
Oh, man. It's amazing to me that some of the players that have had great success in straight pool, like pro tournaments, that I know they're accomplished 9-ball players, and so it's like, where are they finding the time to practice this game, and how are they just so good when it's like, I'm just going to play this? I mean, unless they're practicing it way more than I think they are.
Yeah, I wonder if they are. I don't know.
Like Max Eberle comes to mind, because he's known as a very good straight pool player.
He is.
But he also, from what I know, is 9-ball is his game.
Max Eberle, in my opinion, is a very intellectual player, more than most. And I think that leads, that the intellectual-minded person is going to be more likely to play straight pool more often, because it takes more thinking than a 9-ball or 10-ball game.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think that's why he leans toward it. But, I mean, Earl Strickland is known as a 9-ball player, but he has won straight pool tournaments, and his high run in straight pool is over 200 balls.
Oh, yeah.
Shane Van Boning is known as a 9-ball and 10-ball player, and he went and won was it 2016? He won the National Straight Pool Championship. And played great. Excellent patterns and excellent knowledge of straight pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. So how much is the book, and where can people get it?
The book is $70 for this print version with the key, or $55 if you just want a PDF file to put on your Kindle or your phone or whatever electronic device you want to read it on.
Yeah. Get the hard book. It's
You
hard
can
soft.
Well, and part of the reason why we did it this way with the spiral is you can take it to your home table and it'll lay flat.
Oh, that's nice.
So you can open it up and look at and just lay up the diagrams and set them up and practice on your table like that. But just go to shortstoponpool.com. That's how you do it.
Yeah. So, you said you're not into competing as much, and obviously we're going to Vegas, and team events are so much fun.
Right.
And you did extremely well in the what do they call it, the
Platinum
or
division,
diamond or
something
something.
like that.
Well, the top division, the
took
Masters. He came
third.
in third in singles,
Yeah.
just before COVID came and shut the tournament down.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're on a team together
Yep.
for hopefully in March. If I'll believe it when I see it.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I really hope so. Yeah.
But so in the straight pool, like, do you get excited at like the end of league tournament because you finally get to compete at straight pool?
Well, they're not having an end-of-league tournament, so.
Oh, because of the COVID.
Well.
Oh no,
No, he hasn't had an end-of-league tournament. I really enjoy playing just the straight pool league because it's the only chance that I do get to compete against another person. Yeah.
So there's not much action at felt for straight
There's
pool?
not much, there's no action for straight pool. Everyone wants to play one pocket or 10 ball.
Yeah,
And then, there's no real tournaments for straight pool.
yeah.
So I hope one day, it would be interesting if I don't get too old beforehand to go and play in the nationals, but nowadays it's not even certain if that tournament's gonna be run. The one they play, I think, in Maryland every year.
Oh, I thought it was in New York,
They've moved it
Amsterdam.
around a couple times, yeah. And I think it's an invitational too, so.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe this book will get you an invite.
Wouldn't that be something?
I know John
That'd
Schmidt,
be great.
and I wrote a book.
Yeah,
I'd like to
exactly.
play.
I'm like, I wanna play, please. But I've discovered there's lots of groups on the internet now. You can, and COVID has helped us as well. Since you can't meet in the pool hall to play a tournament, they're doing play the ghost types of tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So you can compete with people all around the
Oh, yeah,
country,
there's been a number of
and you
those.
play the ghost. There's different formats and different people
Mhm.
hosting these types of events, and they're doing straight pool events. So I'm getting involved in those, which is really
Oh,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Have you won any of them?
Yeah, I ran 94 balls to win the straight pool challenge on playing the ghost, and that was a month-long thing where you could keep trying
And you
over and over.
you paid an entry every time you did
You
it.
just keep trying. And now they're doing it where you get one chance to set up your live stream and you get 10
Yeah.
break shots. And you get one chance per week. And then there's a winner is declared.
And how much is each entry?
So that one's $25.
Per, no, that's the one time. How much is the one you could keep doing as many times you want?
10.
10 per try?
Yeah.
And how much did you win?
I don't think it was 10 per try. I think it was one shot for $10. And the host was donating money to promote their website for selling T-shirts or something. So that I won $100 for that.
Ah.
But this next one is just starting this week. In fact, I've been playing a lot of straight pool to get ready for it. You have to shoot your 10 racks in one setting, one live stream, either Thursday or Friday this week. And there's already, I think, 11 players, or maybe even 12. And there's some good players, and Mark Vidal joined, so I'll be competing against him. So that's cool.
Yeah, when the isolation pool tournaments site first came out, and I would play in some of those events like 8 ball and 9 ball, and before I would do the live stream, I was just practicing myself, and I'd play great. And then as soon as that camera went on, all of a sudden I'd get nervous,
Change.
and it just tightened up, and
Yeah.
and it's different. It was a different kind of nervousness than playing against someone live in person in a tournament.
Yeah.
That's not as nerve-wracking, I guess, because I know I can get another chance. Like, it's going to be my break, an alternate break, or if I get out of line, I can duck and play a safety. Versus this format where it's just all offense all the time.
Yeah.
And
I think you get used to it. I know we've both played where our teammates and a crowd of people are around the table.
mm-hmm.
You have to step up and shoot and perform. And I think you get used to it.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to add about your book?
No, go to my YouTube channel, Shortstop on Pool. I've got some commentaries on pro matches there, plus some instructional stuff that I've done. Plus I'll be adding more stuff as I go and try to make it fun and interesting, and hopefully have a conversation about pool on there.
Do you have any, are there any videos where you talk about like a few pages of the book, like just say, well, here's an example of what the book looks like, and here's one of the video clips, so they kind of know what
There's
getting
one
into.
short video on there that's a very short sample that we did a few months ago, but I think that's the next video I should do. Good idea.
All right.
I'll do that.
Bob Keller, joining the C-Ball. We're future platinum champions whenever it is.
Fingers crossed.
Whenever
Hope so.
COVID happens.
Thanks.
All right, kids. See ya.